Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Takeaway. We are currently in a new series. We are in week 2 and we have started a series in the book of Proverbs. And Paul, you got to preach the second part of the sermon. And you're in a suit. Why the suit?
Yeah, so as a pastor, I'm a marriage officer, so I get to do lots of weddings, or whenever there's a wedding. I've done many weddings. And we finished the series on the glory of God, and that last session we spoke about what does it mean to be carriers of the glory, living a life that glorifies God. And a big part of our lives has to do with our marriage, our relationships, and what that looks like. Do you have a marriage that glorifies God? Or do you not have a marriage that glorifies God? And yeah, I decided to wear a suit today because after officiating a wedding, I stand before a couple that's all dressed up and they've got photographers and beautiful food and a wonderful party. But I often drive away wondering how many of these couples are going to live out the promises that they've made. So I don't know how many years it was since I did your...
It'll be 9 years.
Amy. So 9 years ago,
I
stood before Phil and Amy, and they made their vows. They made their promises. And for many people who have been married or are married, there comes a point where it's difficult to live out the promises that you made to one another.
Yeah.
And Proverbs is a book full of wisdom. So if the wedding is a doorway, marriage is actually a road, and Proverbs gives us wisdom for this road of marriage. So I thought I would wear a suit and say things that I'm not always able to say at a wedding. And Proverbs 5 is a book about desire. It's a chapter about desire, temptation, wells, sexual desire, all those things. So it's a fun topic to get into today.
Yeah, that's good. So as you mentioned, your title was Desire, Doors and Wells. So let's start with desire. What is Proverbs 5 teaching us about desire specifically?
Okay, so we're going to divide this chapter up into 2. The first 14 verses are going to be about protecting the marriage bed.
Okay.
And the second half from verse 15 to 23 will be about pursuing the marriage bed.
Okay.
And I say this because in the world we live in today, most couples, it's all about getting into bed before you get married. It's having sex with your partner before you get married, and then the enemy loves it when that happens, and then he wants to keep you out of the marriage bed once you're married. Many couples are like, why get married? Because I hear it just kills your sex life.
Yeah.
Which there's a truth in it, because in the beginning it's exciting, you're pursuing one another. If you are born-again Christians that are trying to save yourself for marriage, it's a major temptation not to have sex before.
Yeah.
But then couples get married, and then you go through the mundane things about being married to the same person for many years. So I'll be married for 21 years, and now you have to live these things out. So your question was?
Yeah, what is this book teaching us about desire, or this chapter specifically about desire?
Okay, so he starts off by saying this is a father speaking to his son. So he's going to talk about the immoral woman. Now we're not just bashing women here, like they are the problem.
Yeah.
If he were writing to his daughter, it would be about the immoral man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not bashing ladies.
Yeah.
I am talking about the temptation that comes.
Yeah.
And he starts off by saying, my son, pay attention to my wisdom, listen carefully to my wise counsel. And there is something important about having wisdom before we face temptation. Because my question was, and I'll ask you, Phil, who has permission to correct your life? Friends, family, people that look at how you're living.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone that will sit you down and say, Phil, I need you to be honest with me. What is going on in your marriage? Or I've seen the way you've been talking to Amy, or I've seen how you've been talking to this other lady, or I've seen you flirting with someone else. Who has, now you don't have to answer. I guess wisdom says, am I teachable before I face temptation? Because temptation will come, and I think we all know what temptation is,
Yeah.
but who has permission to correct you? Wisdom begins when I become teachable
Yeah.
before I face temptation, because it talks about temptation in verse 3. For the lips of an immoral woman are as sweet as honey, and her mouth is smooth oil. Temptation has to awaken desires inside of you. It has to be sweet. And temptation never tells you the full story. It's like watching a movie trailer where it kind of shows the best parts but doesn't show you the ending.
Yeah.
I don't want movie trailers to show me the ending, but I do want wisdom to show me about how things will work out if I go down this path.
Yeah.
So temptation says, oh, her lips are like honey. It's like oil. But in the next verse, it's going to say, in the end, she is as bitter as poison, as dangerous as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. So it starts off with a temptation, but temptation doesn't reveal the consequences. And I was once on a men's camp, and someone spoke about David, who should have been at war, and he's on his roof, and he sees Bathsheba.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the strong men around him to hold him accountable, and he sleeps with her. He then gets her husband killed on the front lines of battle. There's consequences for this decision with his son. I think if I could write down, here's an honest thing, Phil. If I ever face temptation to have an affair with another person, I hope that there would be something inside of me that would weigh up the cost before the moment of pleasure. So he made us write down the consequences of if I were to have an affair.
Yeah.
So firstly, I would have to tell my wife. Secondly, which would be very hard, I would have to tell my boys about this affair that I've had. Then I would have to tell my parents and her parents.
Yeah.
And not just my parents and her parents and my siblings, but my church community, the people that know me and love me. I tell you now, if you could weigh the price, if you could think through the consequences before the 2 minutes of pleasure, I tell you temptation would be very different. But we think, the fool says it will never happen to me.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's what the fool says. Wisdom says,
Yeah. I have something to lose.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You spoke about the honey on our lips, and there was another section which talks about but wisdom shows you the wormwood. Could you just explain that wormwood?
Yeah, so wormwood is a different translation. The NLT talks about it being bitter poison. Wormwood is bitter.
Yeah.
So what starts off, the temptation is sweet, but the end result will be death.
Yeah.
Bitter poison. What starts off by saying it will be fun, no one will know, will end in a death. Now, it may not be physical death. It may be the death of your honor, the death of your integrity, the death of a relationship, the death of what was a family or a marriage, spiritual death with your relationship with God. That's the wormwood or the bitter poison that starts off sweet, but in reality it's not.
And then you spoke about, so affairs don't begin in the bedroom. They begin in conversations and, finding where the line is. And you kind of use the analogy of, who has access to your phone and allowing people, again, into your life, but also recognizing the things that could get you down that route.
Yeah.
And how important is it for us to keep those in check? Because we can, again, like as you mentioned, we can think that, no, it will never happen to me. I can keep going down this route, and we can lose sight of the consequences of something that might seem, So
he says in verse 8, stay away from her. Don't go near the door of her house. And we love pushing the line. We love, if there is an immoral woman behind that door, there is a temptation to just open the door and have a look and to peek in and to do something, but not, there's this excitement, there's this thrill.
Yeah.
And what the proverb says is don't go near the door of the house. So I need you to be vigilant as to sharing things emotionally with someone that isn't your spouse.
Yeah.
I need you to be vigilant of the danger of DMs and being able to delete messages and delete apps and hide things.
Yeah.
And it's a slippery slope. You start saying, "Oh, it's not that serious. It's not that deep. It's innocent." But actually, yeah, I said my wife has full access to read my WhatsApp messages and read my DMs. If she finds a conversation where I've deleted a whole bunch of messages, I hope she would see the red flags there.
Yeah.
And there are dangers today. You don't end up in an affair just Sunday in the bed. It is small decisions, emotional connections, an emotional affair first. The messages go from information to now it becomes a little bit more flirtatious and it becomes a little bit more fun. And then you slowly start crossing lines.
Yeah.
That lead to immoral or sexual affair or whatever it ends up as.
Just speaking about doors, it kind of reminds me, so it's my daughter's birthday and my wife was wrapping the presents and just this thing, just watching that curiosity of like, now she's like, I just want to go to the door and I just want to listen to see if I can hear if she's wrapping the presents still. And like, just as you're speaking now, like just that analogy came up of just like how we're like, oh no, but I'm not going to go in the door. You can watch me. I'm not going to open the door, but I just want to go to the door and see. I just want to hear and see. And I think what happens is we become more and more comfortable with getting up to this door. Whereas this verse is saying, stay away from the door. Don't even head towards that direction.
Yes. Protect what is important.
Yeah.
If my marriage is important and the promises I made to my wife, don't be tempted to see what's on the other side of the door. Just stay away from the door.
Yeah.
Flee sexual immorality. Yeah. Don't go and try and wrestle it and beat it because you got to lose.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Okay. So we've spoken about the desire, the doors, and now the wells. Would you unpack, drinking from your own well? You kind of mentioned that in Proverbs 5.
So now it's stay away, guard the marriage bed, but now it's pursue your spouse.
Yeah.
So it talks about drink water from your own well. It's using water to symbolize sexual intimacy.
Yeah.
In an environment where it's hot, water is precious. It's refreshing. It gives life. And what he's saying is your wife is that source of pleasure, fulfillment, sexual intimacy. Drink from that well. Don't go and drink from another person's well or water that's spilt out on the street. I kind of use this analogy of the power of sex. Like sex is like fire. It's powerful and amazing and dangerous. And in the right place, in a fireplace, it's where it's meant to be. But when it's outside on a couch, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And sex is never just about sex. It's powerful.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to now say is, yes, protect your marriage, but make sure you're pursuing your spouse, delighting, and we're going to get to the fun verses soon. But drink water from your own well.
Yeah.
Share your love only with your wife. Why spill the water of your springs in the streets having sex with anyone else?
Yeah.
Don't share it with strangers.
Yeah. You speak about intimacy being the fruit and not the root. Would you unpack that so that we understand what the difference between either a lack of intimacy or there being intimacy and it being a fruit?
Okay, so sex isn't just about sex. If you have a sexless marriage, you need to get to the root, not just the fruit.
Yeah.
A lack of sexual intimacy is the fruit of deeper things.
Yeah.
So the question goes to why? What is the underlying reasons? Now, for many, it might be unresolved conflict. Maybe there's emotional distance between us. Maybe my spouse uses harsh words, or there's neglect. Maybe, Phil, you've got a newborn baby. It's exhaustion.
Yeah.
Maybe your spouse is older and going through hormonal changes. Maybe it's a season in your life and you've lost a loved one. Maybe it's someone's going through depression. Maybe there are undealt issues of abuse or bitterness or past experiences or lack of trust. Sexual intimacy is very exposing.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be completely naked with someone if there are undealt issues.
Yeah.
You're not going to be like, this is all of me.
Yeah.
When you have underlying issues that haven't been dealt with. So my question is, what is going on beneath the surface? In our marriage, we've had times where talking about sexual intimacy has been really hard. It's an explosive topic. It's very emotive, especially when there's unmet needs or someone's feeling under pressure or someone or they don't feel safe, or it's very emotional. It's the fruit of so many things.
Yeah.
You can't treat your wife badly and say, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
If we're fighting, you can't just do it.
Yeah.
Right? It's a very vulnerable place to be sexually intimate with someone. So he talks about let your wife be a fountain of blessing for you. Rejoice in the wife of your youth.
Yeah.
And that's a choice.
Yeah.
Why is it that marriages after 30 years end up, once the kids are out of home, they get divorced because they've just stopped rejoicing in one another? It says, she is a loving deer, a graceful doe. Let her breast satisfy you always. May you always be captivated by her love. And how do we stay captivated by our partner? How do we still pursue? Phil, when last have you done something romantic? When last have you tried to love her with her love language? When last have you written her a kind note? Or right? You just go through the motions. You become two people raising children in a house, just doing what you have to do. And he's saying, be captivated by her love. And he uses this line, let her breast satisfy you always. You are supposed to be captivated by your spouse, not looking outside of your marriage. And that's hard for the male and the female to pursue each other, to meet each other's needs, to make space, to be sexually active, to have a growing, fulfilling sex life.
Yeah. I mean, it also got me thinking, I know this is a little bit off topic, but it's just the understanding of kind of what you committed to. It kind of goes back to kind of like if you said, like, if the wedding is the doorway, marriage is this path, and most paths are not just straightforward, easy, and so it's understanding that it's a covenant that we've kind of like stepped into. But then you've also kind of mentioned that we should be careful about using this as a weapon. Would you unpack that for us?
Yeah, well,
why it's important?
Can you imagine me going to my wife at some point in the day and say, the Bible says, let your breast satisfy me always. Like, I'm going to get punched. And it's not to weaponize men to just demand sex. It's to love her, as 1 Corinthians says, love is patient, love is kind. It's a sacrificial love. It is meeting her emotional needs. It's serving her. It's loving her. It's being gentle. And sexual intimacy will flow from that. But as soon as someone is starting to demand things, you are crossing the line of the love that Christ has called you to love your partner. And it's supposed to be full of pleasure. And yes, there may be some people that think sex is only for reproduction. I want to say no. Sex is for enjoyment and pleasure. To drink from that well, to be satisfied in the wife of your youth, to rejoice in the wife of your youth. But that means making space. It means, you know what it's like to work a full day's job, to get home, wash, clean, put the children to bed, chill on the couch for a bit, and then it's like you're exhausted. When are you going to make space to love one another physically and to meet each other's sexual needs? My wife is there to meet my needs, and I'm there to meet her needs. And the problem is, when there are unmet needs, we then turn to pornography, we turn to masturbation, we turn to affairs where, someone else finds me attractive, someone else desires me, and you are lured into that temptation of, well, if my wife doesn't let me, then there's someone else there that is going to meet those needs.
And I think the wisdom is, again, I think you mentioned this in your sermon, is also recognizing sometimes when you're in those seasons and being able to identify them and kind of have those conversations before, because I think you mentioned, like, attack those things before they become, okay, now we're considering divorce because we're already down the road and we haven't been able to recognize. And again, there are seasons for that, but it's understanding that we've got to have these kind of conversations.
Not every season is easy. And that's why you have the fruit of the Spirit, self-control, where sometimes you may not have all your sexual needs met, but you're still called to be faithful and live a life of integrity and live a life that honors God. But when the illness is over or the child's a bit bigger or whatever it is, you can get back to a healthy rhythm of meeting each other's sexual needs. But life isn't easy. None of this is simple. It's not just like, everyone's just having sex all the time because it's easy. It's complicated. It's hard. I think there are many couples who are dissatisfied as to their level of sexual intimacy. I think the norm is where people are feeling guilty and feeling shame and feeling like, I'm not meeting the needs of my spouse. And there's lots to talk about, different sex drives and initiation styles, and those that are spontaneous and those that need a bit of time to respond to a desire. It's not just a raging hormone like a typical male may feel, but it's making space to...
I want to add in, and this is speaking specifically, I know we've spoken particularly to married couples, but I think it's so important for those that are listening to this that maybe are single, that are going to step into this. Like, what do you have to say to them about this topic, particularly kind of, either long before they're in a marriage relationship or those that are about to go into that?
So for the single person who is not married yet, become the right person for when you do meet your spouse one day. Walk in integrity. Learn self-control now. Everyone thinks marriage will cure your lust problem. It won't. You need to overcome while you're still single. Two of the biggest decisions you'll make in your life is the person you marry and the career you choose. And if one of those are unhealthy, if you have a job that is unfulfilling and you stressed and you a mess, it's going to affect your marriage. The same way as you get divorced, it's going to affect your career. So become the right person and trust that God will lead you into the right person you're supposed to marry, and understand what covenant is, not just contract. Understand that it's till death do you part, and it's going to be difficult. It's not all just and they lived happily ever after. Marriage is difficult, but it's good. And it's what God intended. And then you ended this chapter by saying that the Lord, that our ways are before the Lord. How should we take that, and how should we hear that? Well, he says, for the Lord sees clearly what a man does, examining every path he takes. Everything is naked and open before him. He sees my sexual fantasies. He sees my DMs, my hidden messages. He sees when my heart has wandered and I'm imagining a life apart from my wife. He sees it all and knows it all. And I think it's a sobering thing to realize I can fool you, Phil, but I can't fool God. He knows. So live an honest life with him. Live in community with others where you can be honest about your challenges, your temptations, your desires. If you're struggling in your relationship, be honest before it's too late. Many people who have crossed the line and messed up have lost their honor. And they've had to rebuild trust. And they've chosen a difficult journey. Or just because of a moment of pleasure. It's just not worth it. Be faithful to the wife of your youth. Rejoice in the wife of your youth. And may we be Christians who are living fulfilled, satisfied sexual lives. But if you want more of this, join our marriage course at the end of the month. Sign up and do the work that needs to be done so you can live a fulfilled, satisfied marriage.
And then one takeaway, or if you have any takeaway that you would want someone to take out of this sermon specifically.
Well, we talk about temptation. So if you're not married, listen to the part about temptation.
Yeah.
I want to live a life that values my marriage. I want to protect the marriage bed. But my takeaway is to pursue my wife.
Yeah.
To be romantic, to make time, to be creative, to make space, to enjoy the wife of my youth, rejoice in the wife of my youth, and live humbly and honestly before God.
Thanks, Paul. I think this was a good conversation, an important one. And again, yeah, we are going to have a marriage course. So if you are wanting to be a part of that, again, invest in it before it gets bad, not when it is bad.
Yes.
And we hope that you've been encouraged. Don't stay hidden, isolated, or ashamed. Bring things into the light with wisdom and support. And yeah, if you do need prayer, counseling, or whatever, please reach out to life group leaders, pastors, and we'll put you in touch with the right people. But I hope that you've been encouraged by this conversation, and that we can continue to have more real conversations about life and wisdom. And as we continue in this series, we will definitely do that. But we hope you've been encouraged, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.